That's how you bounce back, baby. Consistency.
Time they made a run, we answered. We stepped up to the challenge. Our defense, we were in there. We self-corrected when we needed to. All right, we communicated on the floor, multiple levels of effort. We were connected on both ends of the floor.
After back-to-back humiliating losses to teams they should have easily defeated, the Indiana Fever returned to Gainbridge Fieldhouse to face the Atlanta Dream with their entire season hanging in the balance. Critics were already questioning whether this team was unraveling. Caitlin Clark had just come back from a groin injury. Reports of tension between her and head coach Stephanie White were surfacing, and the bitter memory of Brittney Griner's offensive, racially charged remarks from their last meeting still lingered. But what followed wasn't just a win, it was a declaration of war. The Fever didn't just beat the Dream, they destroyed them, 99-82. In a performance so convincing, it reminded everyone why this team still has championship potential. If you're backing the Fever, drop a comment, "I've got the Fever." In the post-game media session, the players reflected on what changed. "I think everyone saw that we kind of found a flow when Caitlin was hurt." One player explained, "The offense was clicking, but now we need a new offense with her back in, because she brings so much to the game. We all want this now. We know what this team is capable of, but we can't think too far ahead. We have to take it day by day. What worked tonight, we need to bring that energy into tomorrow's game." With a packed schedule ahead, including multiple games in just a week, the Fever emphasized the importance of mental preparation and physical recovery. But the tension was evident. "We're all a little frustrated," she admitted. Just days earlier, the Fever had suffered devastating defeats at the hands of the LA Sparks in the Golden State Valkyries games they were favored to win. Caitlin Clark's injury, combined with Darius Dantas temporarily leaving to play for Brazil's national team, threw the entire rotation into chaos. Lineups that had chemistry were scrambled. Players who had found rhythm were shuffled around. The offense looked disjointed and confused. The team, described by insiders as a little frustrated, was visibly struggling. That frustration played out on the court, game after game. One reporter asked bluntly, "How hard has it been switching back and forth between identities, especially with Caitlin being in and out?" The response was honest. "Yeah, and it's no one's fault. No one wants to see anyone hurt. But the reality is, when she's with us, we play one style of basketball. When she's not, we play a different style. It's like two different teams. Hopefully she's done being hurt. Lord, please hear us." The player emphasized that once they could find a consistent rhythm with Clark in the lineup, the Fever would be really, really good. But they couldn't just keep saying it, they had to back it up with action. At the heart of the identity crisis was a philosophical disagreement. Coach Stephanie White favored a slow, methodical style, grinding possessions, controlling tempo. Clark, on the other hand, wanted pace, transition, and ball movement that highlighted her vision and passing skills. It wasn't just a minor disagreement, it was a fundamental clash in basketball ideology. With Clark on the floor, the team played fast and loose. Without her, they reverted to a slower, conservative style. The disconnect became most obvious during the recent losses. Roles were unclear. Ball movement disappeared. The offense stalled. And to make things worse, Clark was struggling, shooting just 28.9% from the field and an abysmal 11.4% from three over her last 5 games. Then came the breaking point. Reports surfaced of heated discussions between Clark and Coach White during recent practices. These weren't simple coaching chats, they were intense, strategic debates, loud enough for the entire team to hear. The tension was growing. One source close to the team revealed that Clark had strongly voiced her concerns about the offensive flow, even suggesting that certain players be benched. Specifically, she reportedly told White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard because they don't pass. This wasn't just about frustration, it was leadership in its rawest form, and the signs were there for everyone watching. Observers noticed Clark walking back on defense anytime Natasha Howard had the ball, clearly disinterested in even being an option. And late in the third quarter, Howard outright ignored Clark on an offensive possession, a glaring display of dysfunction. Eyewitnesses confirmed that during halftime against Atlanta, Clark and White had a serious, heated exchange in the locker room. Everyone could hear the voices rising. Everyone knew this was a turning point. Something had to give before the team completely fractured, but this moment wasn't about disrespect, it was about two competitors fighting to win. While Clark and White clearly respect one another, it was becoming evident that they didn't always see eye to eye on how this team should operate. And what made this confrontation powerful was that Clark wasn't just venting, she was presenting real solutions. She had a vision for the offense and wasn't afraid to share it, even if it meant challenging her coach. White had a decision to make: stick with the original game plan, or trust her star players' instincts. That conversation became the spark that reignited the Fever's season. Heading into the second half, the world would see whether that tough talk turned into results. And oh, it did. The halftime confrontation wasn't a symptom of was a turning point. From that moment forward, the Fever looked like a team transformed. The chemistry that grew out of that raw, honest moment between coach and superstar became the foundation for one of their most inspired halves of the season. And remember those disgraceful comments Brittney Griner made about Caitlin Clark? The Fever sure did. That game against the Atlanta Dream wasn't just about redemption, it was personal. In their last meeting, Griner didn't just play physically, she crossed the line with inappropriate and racially charged verbal attacks. Allegedly, calling Clark a trash white girl, the WNBA remained silent, offering no investigation, no statement, nothing. But the Fever didn't forget, and they made Griner pay. From the opening tip, the Fever played with a chip on their shoulder, defending their teammate and sending a message. Caitlin Clark, back from injury, played with purpose. Her layup and one in the first quarter, drawing contact and finishing strong, ignited the crowd. Sophie Cunningham delivered a monster performance, notching 16 points and 10 rebounds in a relentless, physical game that made it clear the Fever weren't backing down. She dove for loose balls, battled on the boards, and energized the team. Kelsey Mitchell responded to the criticism with a vengeance, dropping 25 points and leading the offensive charge. She lit up the court from all angles, including clutch threes and dazzling drives. Her performance was a reminder that attacking one of their own only makes the Fever stronger. Even when Clark's shots weren't falling, she made her presence felt. Finishing with 12 points and 9 assists, her playmaking opened up the floor, kept the ball moving, and created easy buckets for teammates. From a fractured locker room to a dominant win, this wasn't just about bouncing back. It was about evolving into a team that finally understood how to turn conflict into fuel. The Indiana Fever didn't just survive a storm, they found their identity in the middle of it. And now, the rest of the league has been put on notice.